All right, example 3. Find the area of this triangle. Dimensions are in centimeters. So when we find the area of it, we're going to get centimeters squared. What you'll see here is we have an isosceles triangle. And the property of the isosceles triangle we're going to exploit to be able to do this is the fact that if I were to draw a height in from the top down to the non-equal side, always draw it from the vertex to the non-equal side. Right, even if it's positioned in some weird direction, position it like this so the non-equal side to the bottom. And if that you draw that height in, which has a height of h at this point, the base itself is cut into 2 equal sections, 2 and 2. And I make it a habit in tests to make sure that bottom number is even so you don't have to deal with any decimals. Okay, it's at least as far as that's concerned. Okay, now I did say there's a recipe. The recipe is right here. Finding the area of an isosceles triangle. Step 1. Okay, before I do all this height stuff, before I did what I just did, step 1 of the recipe is this, and this is going to create the right answer more often than not on people's papers. Okay, before you draw that height in, before this red line shows up, write b equals whatever the base is. Put it on your paper immediately. All right? What 2 things do we need to know to find the area of a triangle? Base and height. We know the base, we don't know the height, correct? So, write down the base immediately before you change your mind and think it's something different. Because a lot of times people think it's something different because they do this. They draw this height in and they cut this in half and all of a sudden they think the base is 2 now instead of 4. The base is 4 because the triangle we're trying to find the area of is right here. Its base is 4. So write that immediately. As soon as you see this problem, write down base equals whatever the base is. Step 2. Draw a dashed line to represent the height perpendicular to the base and mark it H. Got a capital H in my recipe, so I'll put a capital H there. There we go. Notice I'm going to write H equals right here. This box contains the information I need to know to find the area. So I'm going to have that box right there prominently on my paper so I know where the information I need is going to be located in that box. Anytime I find anything important, I'm going to stick it in that box. We already knew the base, so I wrote it in the box. Do I know the height yet? No. All right. The height breaks the base into 2 equal pieces and will create 2 congruent right triangles. All right. So this right here is a right triangle, and this right here is also a right triangle. They're congruent. They're equal. They're the same. So I can use this right triangle or that right triangle, take your pick, to figure out what H is using the Pythagorean Theorem. The Pythagorean Theorem states that if we have a right triangle, and we know 2 of the 3 sides of the right triangle, the Pythagorean Theorem can find the third by going leg squared plus leg squared is equal to hypotenuse squared. The legs will be the height and half of the base. The hypotenuse will be the slanty side that's equal to the other side. Every single time. That gets me h squared plus 4 is equal to 25, which means h squared has to equal 21. Which means h is going to equal the square root of 21, which on these problems I'd like to go ahead and get a decimal answer for these. Decimals are fine. So I'm going to type in my calculator square root of 21. My calculator says it's 4.58. Where does that go?
In the H.
Up in my box up here, my important box, right?
Sure.
The 2 things I needed to know to find the area of this triangle were the height and the base. I've got the base and height listed, right? So once I've established all that, I'm going to use that formula, BH over 2, to find the area. Area equals, and 4 times 4.58 over 2, which equals 9.16 centimeters squared. If you're unsure of how I got 9.16 off of this, I type 4 times 4.58 divided by 2 on my mental calculator to spit out 9.16. If you don't have a mental calculator that's happy with decimals like mine is, you can type in 4 times 4.58 divided by 2 equals 9.16. All right? So, that's how you, anytime you type in this stuff where it's got stuff over stuff, all the top stuff divided by the bottom. If there's one thing on the bottom, if there's multiple things on the bottom, you might want to evaluate them both first and then divide the 2 numbers you get. That's the whole process. It's not difficult. People miss this all the time. Okay? If you don't know the formula or the recipe here, you want to practice it until you don't need to look at the sheet with it in front of you. All right, this represents the one new thing we're learning today. All right, so this is something you want to practice, you want to get good at, you want to pay close attention to detail in your process to make sure that you understand how to do it, what information is necessary, write the base, draw the height, cut it in half, Pythagorean theorem to find the height, you do base height over 2, you got the area. Okay, that is one of 2 effective ways to find the area of this. The other way I'm not going to show you. I don't want to confuse anybody today. We get to geotrig, I'll show you that one. It's not hard, it's just different.